Hey there, good morning. Wanted to touch base with you all about the solos that were put up in Schoology and cover a couple things that may be questions that we were a little concerned about or weren't quite sure how to handle a couple of specific sounds that you can create when you're playing on keyboard. So I'm looking at Caribbean Cruise, and hopefully by now you've had a chance to write in the counts for this piece and practice counting and using a metronome at a very slow tempo. And if not, one of the recommendations I have is to start with at least anywhere from 50 to 60 beats per minute to help you with your counting and making sure that we can say the note names out loud. And so what I mean by that is if I turn my met on and I'm nice and slow, and I start with the beginning here, I have 1, C, 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 D, E, F, F, E, D, C. So you'll want to do that to help you with practicing the memorization of the note names in the actual staff, but it's also going to make you more confident with making sure you're reading the correct note names. Once we get through to a couple of examples where we have these double stops, I recommend taking the bottom note that you have and just saying that note name out loud. So that would sound like this. A, beef, G, F, F, F. So I'll do that one more time. Excuse me. A, beef, G, F, F, F. All right, and so that's going to help you out with note recognition. And number one, we want to make sure that we know how to count the rhythms, because percussion is all about having a very good understanding of rhythms. So number one, counting rhythms. Number two, saying the note names with the rhythms. Okay. And then number three is where I want to physically touch the keyboard using my hands. So I like to use my fingers, and I use my pointer fingers on the actual keyboard itself, and so I like to tap on the note that I'm using and that I'm saying. So if I'm playing from the beginning, I have rest, C, 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 D, E, F, F, E, D, C. All right, so that would be my third step that I need to take. So fingers, tapping, and then finally we will use our mallets on the keyboard. Okay. Now the next part to this is really important. If we go down to letter B, you'll notice that we get to our very first rolls that we need to play on our keyboard instrument. Rolls on keyboards are very different from playing on snare drum. When we're playing rolls on a snare drum, we're trying to get multiple bounces and we're trying to create a buzzing sound. And with a keyboard, though, we are relying upon single strokes, so we alternate those single strokes. So our goal is to be able to find a comfortable speed for our hands so that we can play through our keyboard instrument and make it sound like the notes are lasting a long time. Okay. So looking at letter B, first thing I want to do is I want to make sure I write my counts in. This is beat 2, but it's in parentheses, and now I get to the Te of 2. Whenever I'm stuck with a long note, like a half note, which covers 2 beats, I've got beats 3 and 4, I'm going to hold out the note when I'm counting. So it sounds like this. 1, Te, 1. So you'll notice that I have the half note lasting for 2 beats, and you'll notice that these things right here are tying the 2 groupings of notes together. So we call those a tie. So if I have a note here and a note here, and I put a little arc over it, it ties the 2 together. So what that means is that now you're holding out the value of the note all the way until you get to that next note. So I have 1, Te, 1. 1, 2, te, 1. So when we're playing on keyboard and we have our mallets, we're going to strike the two notes that we have together on the te of 2 at the same time. Once we're comfortable with that, we're going to separate the roll by doing single strokes. So if I were to play letter B, I have 1, te, 2, te, 3, te, 4, te, 1. In slow motion, it looks like this. 1, te, 2, te, 3, te, 4, te, 1. So you will notice that when I do have the hands splitting apart, I don't have any specific rhythm that I'm thinking about playing. What I'm trying to do is I'm just trying to count beats 3 and 4 with my metronome so that I can still keep that pulse and I still keep that tempo in my head. Alright, and there's an important thing to establish, and that is your tempo when it comes to how you play your rolls. So if I'm using a slow tempo, which is going to be anywhere from 50 beats per minute to 100 beats per minute, my hands and their speed, or my hand speed, is going to be fast. The opposite is true. When I have a fast tempo for a piece of music, which we'll say is 100 to 180 beats per minute, my roll or hand speed is going to be slower. Okay? So this is what's going to help us create that really neat effect when we have to roll on our notes on the keyboard and make it sound like the note is lasting for a long time. Okay? Because we don't have air that we're pushing through our instrument. Like if I was playing the trumpet, or if I'm playing like a clarinet or saxophone, I'm pushing air through my instrument, and that's what's going to cause the instrument to ring for a long time. With the keyboard, though, it doesn't do that, right? So we are taking a mallet and we are striking it, and when we strike it, it makes one instant or instantaneous note. So we have to be able to create a long tone or create a sustaining note by putting multiple single strokes together at a speed to where it gives the idea that the note is going to be lasting for a long time.